Nice.
Did you want an introduction to this?
No, absolutely not.
You're good?
I don't think so. Do we need an introduction?
No, he just went straight into barbecue.
Hey, everybody. That's Ryan right over. That's Ryan.
Ryan.
And then the guy in the middle is Sohan. And the guy over there on the right, that's Richard.
With the hat.
And with the hat. And then this is Cory. So enjoy the show that you're about to see or that you just saw.
Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses.
It's been a good night.
Awesome. Been a good night.
But the main pitmaster, whenever he had the food truck in downtown, I became a friend with him, and we'd cooked in some of the same kind of barbecue circles, things like that. And do you know how he got started?
I know, huh?
So his grandfather, he wanted to get money from his grandfather to start his food truck. And his grandfather told him, back to consistency, being able to do it, he's like, if you can cook a brisket every day for a month, and it tastes the same every day for a month, I'll give you the money you need to start. But you're going to pay for all the briskets until you do that, and you're going to cook one every day for a month. And whenever they taste the same every day for 30 days, I'll give you the money. It took him like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
He basically could have funded himself at that point.
Well, he could, but he also understood the lesson his grandfather was teaching him. So once he got to that point and he got his temperatures in his pits and he learned how to dial in his pits and he learned how to adapt to different temperatures and everything else. Once he actually did that and he opened, he took off like gangbusters. I mean, he went from a food truck to a brick and mortar in like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
But the problem is now that he's down there, he's running 4 pits now, and he can't maintain all of them, so he has other people that are there. And the quality is going down a little bit. His seasonings aren't as good. He can't do the Fideo anymore because they can't do it on the scale. And it's just one of those things that once he transitioned down to that and the scale that he's doing it at now, like the food is still good and it's still one of the only barbecues I'm going to pay for.
Yeah,
but last time I was there, I was kind of customer service and everything aside. Like I don't care. I'm in the military. I'm used to people being assholes. Yeah. But like the food, it just wasn't there. It didn't have the same like crispness that he normally has.
Where is this?
Valentina's down in Buda.
Okay.
That is the only barbecue I will pay for.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm a good cook.
It's super good.
Cool.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't do what he does.
All right. Well, what about in Austin? What's your if you I mean maybe you won't pay for it, but if you were gonna fair enough. All right. Well, invite me over next time, you know.
So
hopefully I'll be done eating soup by then.
Barbecue in Austin. So barbecue is a funny thing, and it's a very fickle thing where I can tell you everybody that has a good brisket. I can tell you everybody that has a good pork rib and a good chicken, everything else. What do you like with barbecue? Like whenever you go,
I like some fatty brisket, and I don't want it to want barbecue sauce. I don't need sauce. I don't need sides. I just want the brisket to be fucking good. That's all I care about.
okay,
But
Or
there's
beef rib.
also different styles right in Texas where you've got open pit barbecues and you have closed barbecues.
I don't
offset
know about all
smokers.
that.
Okay.
I want it to be salty and smoky, and I want to taste the beef. I don't want to taste a bunch of spices. I just want like salt and pepper and beef, and I just want it to be like you know,
unctuous.
fatty. Yeah, fatty. I want it to be like melt in your mouth, fatty, and I don't need sauce.
So what I'm about to say, I am a really good barbecue cook. I have won competitions. I've done all that kind of stuff. I cannot stand brisket.
Really?
I don't like brisket.
And you don't like rye either. Interesting. Okay.
Oh, we're gonna get to another one. We're gonna have another story time here in a little bit. That's
You don't like brisket? You're from Texas?
Brisket. You're right. I am, and I've eaten brisket a lot. And what I don't like about it is like I appreciate the flavor. I like brisket as a flavor. I like it as a couple bites of a taste. I like a little bit of brisket on a taco. I will not sit down and eat a quarter pound of brisket because of all the fat and all the everything else. It just makes me feel bad.
Fair.
Ooh,
That's
can I answer this one?
Okay,
Because I've been to them all, as you can tell. And so Kent Blacks, not Terry Blacks.
Kent Blacks is phenomenal.
Kent Blacks, in particular, the one in San Marcos is my personal favorite. They have like 4 locations: one in Austin, one in San Marcos, one in New Braunfels, and one in Lockhart. And I think their brisket is top notch. Now
Yes,
I can
it is.
argue, like me personally, my favorite brisket ever is Cadillac's in Dallas, North Dallas. But that's a long drive. So yeah, have you been there?
I have.
Now, I want to preface this. It's been like 7 years, so like time has passed.
It has.
Okay, that's good info. That's the best. Then I'm not going to make that drive. Cooper's in downtown Austin can make a very solid brisket.
Cooper's in Llano's even better.
Yeah, agreed. Their pork chops.
I like Micklethwaite's.
Yes.
I like Micklethwaite's. I like a lot. Style Switch. I like.
Yeah.
If what I normally tell people is like, oh, I want really good barbecue. I'm like, okay, do you want really good barbecue and not having a brisket? And whenever they look at me crazy, just like that.
Sure.
And they say, okay. I'm like, go to Micklethwaite and get their beef rib.
Oh yeah.
But also ask whenever you're ordering, say, hey, what's the sausage of the week? Because it's not on the menu.
Yeah.
But they do different kind of sausages that are there. I went there one time and they had a duck, Gouda, and fig sausage.
Ooh.
Phenomenal. Whole different thing. The Texas macaroni and cheese they had there, the jalapeno macaroni and cheese.
Their side swap, everything they do is awesome. Like
Yes.
their bread, they bake their own bread. Like everything they do is like exemplary.
And that's what makes barbecue for me is if they have good sides.
Right.
Like if they have a good macaroni and cheese, not just coleslaw and potato salad. They have a good macaroni
macaroni
and cheese.
is important.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have one good side, coleslaw, macaroni and cheese, those are the two.
House-made bread is also,
And
yeah.
I'll eat Wonder Bread or not if the brisket's good. And I am a brisket guy. I'm a So wait, so you like sausage? You like?
I love sausage. I love the beef. I love everything else.
Beef. I'm also a beef rib guy.
So ironically enough, brisket for me, like I can make a phenomenal brisket. I know it tastes good. All my friends love it. Whenever I make a brisket, I never have leftovers. It's always gone. Brisket, much like some whiskeys that are overhyped, overrated, and you drink it because of the status symbol. Want to use Buffalo Trace as an example?
Sure.
I mean,
shots fired.
But it's a valid example because like now, for a long time, Buffalo Trace around the Austin area was really, really hard to find, right?
Right.
So Specs mainly lobbied to get Buffalo Trace into the Texas area, specifically the Austin area. Now you go to every Specs and there's cases of Buffalo Trace sitting in end caps, in some places actually marked down, just to try to move it because once the exclusivity and the importance of it was gone, you just realize now that it's kind of mediocre. Not mediocre. It's good.
It is good.
It is good, but it's not.
It's not worth twice the price.
And it's not worth the hype.
Right.
For me, brisket is like that. Brisket is good, and I don't mind it. I'll eat a couple bites of it. But as far as brisket goes, it is the middle of the road at barbecue. It is not difficult to cook well, as long as you have the patience and everything else. Beef ribs are exponentially more difficult to cook. The flavor is exponentially better as well because you have the bone there leaching everything out. I will annihilate a beef rib, and I will eat a beef rib, and I know I'm going to hurt the next day, but I'm going to be completely okay with it because of all the grease and everything else, because the flavor is different. It's deeper. It's richer.
Mm-hmm. And with barbecue, it's the same thing about locality and eating local.
Yes.
Right.
And because what they do well in that one place, that's what you want to eat.
Oh, for sure.
It's
for
seafood
sure.
coming from Nova Scotia, and having seafood in Nova Scotia, it's a specific style. They let the seafood talk without a lot of seasoning.
Right.
When you come to the South, the seafood, it's a different type of seafood, and they tend to batter it, deep fry it, and overcook it. But if you go to Japan and Asia, it's a lighter cooking style with a lot of nuance with the umami, with the soy sauce, with the all of the different flavors that they cook. So I started talking to people about the way seafood has regionality, and it has a way to eat it. So when you're in those places, eat it the way they eat it in those areas.
Right.
It's the same with barbecue.
I will take you
Barbecue
to some
has
of
so
the
many
port
styles.
places, and we can get some raw Gulf oysters that you can watch them come off the back of the boat. We can talk about some raw stuff that's amazing.
That sounds great. I love oysters. I used to, when I was at Fishmonger, it was over at Quality Seafood right up there.
Really?
Yeah. I used to cut fish, cut drum.
Nice.
Back to tea.
Dragon
Yes, back to
Ball.
tea.
This is my what was it? This is my
So this is whenever so this is the friendship stuff. Whenever somebody's had a bad day, they're coming over, they need to hang out, and you just want to you want to make something that's comforting. It's not super challenging. You can either get lost in it and with the flavors, or you can have a conversation and it's just something that's present in the conversation. It's
my go-to. It's
like,
my favorite.
But it's also like your friend that's in the conversation. It's the commonality where if somebody, once they leave you, because with what I'm going to pour, I have friends of mine that with what I used to do for a living, I had a lot of people that we had a lot of very interesting conversations about things they've been through. And whenever they start kind of going back in a dark place, they go and get a bottle of this and they drink it, and it reminds them of sitting at my house and sitting there talking to me. And a lot of times they'll call me or we'll text and they'll be drinking the same thing, and I'll go grab my bottle and we'll have those kind of conversations. And it's something that's super easy to find, very linking, comforting flavor, not challenging.
When we were setting this up, we actually had a conversation with Ryan previous to this, and he basically said, come to my house and let's not talk about work.
Right. That's my rule.
Let's talk about whatever else.
I'm rewrapping because this is not super accessible. This is like more hard to find, and it's like.
But is this something that if a friend of yours were to come to your house, that you would always have, that if they had to work for it a little bit, they could find, or is this something that if somebody was 100, 200,000 miles away, that they could find and have that common link with you? Okay.
No. They'd have to buy it from us. You know, the only way they get it is to buy it from us. This is like my shit. You know what I mean? This is like, you're coming. I'm a father. I got a 3-year-old. My time is money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I do not have time to just shoot the shit with my homies. If you're coming over, you're talking to me about your problems. We're gonna drink what I want to drink. And I don't give a fuck what you feel like, you know. So, but if I'm trying to be like, so I always say like, we just had a fresh white tea, right? That Silverito was a fresh white tea. I always say that aged white tea is this like nurturing, comforting. Am I fucking up? Oh, did I need to move this? This is on there.
You've been sounding good.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it. Yeah, move it. All right. But if I'm like, this is something that like you couldn't find this, you know, you'd have to get this exact one from us. But what it is it's aged white tea, it's aged Chaumet.
Okay.
It's the 21st century. You've got the internet. You can get it from us. It's not something that you're going to find easily in America or even in China. But if you live in Fuding, where this tea is from, then you can find it easily. And it's not expensive. It's not a rare or expensive tea. It's just that tea in general is so underrepresented in the West. Chinese tea is so underrepresented. But it's a very like comforting. You don't have to be good at making tea to make it.
Right, and I think that's what I'm looking for. It's like, it's one of those things that if you, because for me, I have a lot of friends, and people laugh about it and they talk about it all the time, that a lot of my friends say the most comfortable place they are or that they know is at my house sitting on my back porch.
Ah, sweet.
Because you're not allowed to talk about work. If you're having problems with work, cool, let's talk about those problems, but we're not just going to randomly talk about work. Because being in the military, it sucks. It really does.
Yeah.
It is not an easy job, but at the same time, like I've lost a lot of friends, and I want people to be able to come over there and hang out with me, talk with me. And if they are a long way away, which is what happens with friends, because the military trauma bonds you, then they break you up and you never see them again. But be able to have that kind of link where we can have phone conversations and talk. Mm-hmm. It smells and taste and those kind of things where you can close your eyes and it takes you back to sitting there is a big thing.
That's interesting because I'm a military brat. Mm-hmm. My father was in the military, and he was away from home on maneuvers or with the UN and doing different things around the world. And as I've moved from place to place, as a young person, we didn't have the internet back then. Mm-hmm. And writing letters was a chore, and keeping up those relationships over the years became more and more difficult. And there were only maybe 2 or 3 families that would end up intersecting again. There's one family, the LeBlanc family, that I tell them that we knew each other before we knew each other, because my father and their father were friends before they went into the military. And so their children were around the same age as we were in our family. So there were 2 boys. One was born on this exact same day as I was 1 year prior.
Nice.
The other was born maybe 2 weeks earlier. He has a joke when we turned 52. He basically said that we're 26 again. So, but the internet has brought some of us back together, and when you do get back together with your childhood friends, it's an entirely different relationship. And the things that you remembered are not the same things that they remembered from those times. So yes, I do understand this from a different perspective.
And it's the moving around everything else. And while you're prepping your tea and everything else, because we are relaxing, because we are hanging out, I am going to go ahead and if people come to my house, oh, there it is. Much like your rabbi.
Yes,
Jameson Black.
Dovey. It's for you, Dovey.
I will always have at least 2 bottles of Jameson Black in my house. One that's open, one that is closed, and that is kind of the going rotation because my friends are like me, they like the booze. But Jameson Black is a phenomenal whiskey because with the way it's made, the Irish drinkers like it, the bourbon drinkers like it because you get the wood notes. It has enough of a light smoky flavor to it that the Scotch drinkers can get behind it. And it's not crazy, it's super accessible, and it's just good.
Yeah.
And it hits all the marks that everybody likes except for the rye flavor, and I'm really okay with that. So if you come to my house and if you're having a bad day or if you just like need to sit and not exist in your life for a little while but just relax and hang out, this is what we're drinking because it's just easy.
Sounds great. And like I said, as we talked about the last episode, got a lot of special memories with Jameson, me and Dovey.
Have you had this one before?
Have
you had the Jameson Black?
I've never had Black.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the Jameson Black, I will tell you, it is a different flavor profile than regular Jameson. You will find the regular Jameson flavors in it, but the profile is just enough elevated and just enough different that it tastes like something different. But again, it's Jameson, it's super accessible, and even on the nose, you'll notice that it's an entirely different thing.
And Jameson is the Middleton distillery, the County Cork. They ended up falling back to where there were only really 2 distillery companies, the Middleton and the Irish distilleries. And that was it. They had lost their entire production, and it took time to rebuild so that we have all of the Irish whiskeys that we have today. And
when are we talking about? What's this time frame? I don't know this story.
Yeah, so what
Late
happened?
18s, early 19s?
Yeah, so it started with Prohibition. It also started with the difference between the Scottish whiskeys having the moving to column stills and increasing production. It also goes back to the phylloxera. I can get too far deep into this, but it goes back.
Nerdy.
Yeah, it goes back to the Phylloxeraptor.
You need to have a picture of a Phylloxeraptor whenever he says that.
That should just be our banner.
The Phylloxeraptor.
The Phylloxeraptor.
With all of the shortened
That's our
arms.
mascot.
So the Phylloxera. Oh, I can go on and on and on. I don't think
All
I
right,
should.
maybe I'll rescind my question.
This is a deep dive.
I'll rescind my question. We'll talk about this on another episode.
Yeah.
Basically,
also-
almost Irish died and Irish came back with a vengeance probably in the last 30 years.
It can't keep us down.
And it
Can't
was
keep the Irish down.
And it was the Middleton distillery and the Irish distillers that helped the smaller distillers to grow back again. So they ended up basically competing themselves out of the market so that it came down to 2 distilleries. And then they realized that this is not sustainable, that we're all going to lose. So Jameson was the hallmark for Irish whiskey, and the Middleton distillery helped all of these smaller distilleries to reboot and regrow, go back to their heritage, bring back some of the old lost distilleries from all around Ireland. So Jameson and Middleton, those are a big thing in my heart where, and I just touched my microphone, I'm sorry. But
The look on his face is like he really enjoyed it too.
Yeah, there you go. But a rising tide raising all ships. This is the story of what happened, the resurgence of Irish whiskey. And then currently Waterford and doing grain to glass, farm to glass. This is a new mode of operation, being more sustainable. And this is all going back to Middleton and the Irish distilleries being able to make this happen.
And didn't Bushmills... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Didn't Bushmills do it to a smaller extent too? Like
Exactly.
Jameson and Bushmills, like in the last 20 or 30 years, like carried and lifted the entire Irish whiskey market back into the forefront of the world.
Bushmills being the Irish distilling
Yeah.
company, yeah. So that's a big part of the resurgence and the ability to get all of these different Irish whiskeys that we've never had available when we were younger.
Beautiful. To camaraderie, solidarity. Sláinte.
No analyzing, just a thought.
Ooh, it's nice. It's nice. Yeah, you know, it is that comforting. It's just, I feel like I'm in someone's kitchen. You know what I mean? I'm hanging out in someone's kitchen. We're not cooking, we're just hanging out.
What color
We're
is the
just at the
refrigerator? Olive green,
Yeah,
mustard
like
yellow,
brown or something, you know, orange, you know, something like that. It's not white. Maybe it was white once, but
But yeah, like coming over to my house and just hanging out, like friendship. This is what you're gonna have at my house. And people, whenever I'm cooking something for them, or whenever they're coming over, like there was at one point I probably had 7 bottles of this in my cabinet because I was doing favors for them, and they would just bring a bottle of Jameson Black because I do sketchy things for Jameson.
Jameson is my like nightstand whiskey for the longest time. That was just like back when I was single, living my little bachelor life, you know, as a young man, and I would have just the 1 bottle of whiskey. It'd either be Jameson, or if I was doing real good, it'd be Lafroig. It would either Jameson. I like those kind of things. I'm into that smoky Scotch.
God.
No, I'm aware of the whole stigma with being a Lafroig lover, but I do. That was my first whiskey.
No, the stigma doesn't exist with me. It's just a whole different thing that you're getting. We'll have the conversation, but it's gonna get weird. It's gonna get real weird.
So this is friendly and approachable, but it has more depth than the Jameson, the regular Jameson that everyone's aware of. It's got more character. It's got more spice.
And is this the new tea that you
Yes.
always have in your house?
So check it out. Let's look at it again.
Yeah.
See, you can still see those little hairs floating, and not nearly as much.
No.
And the
Oh, wait.
color is much darker.
Oh wait,
Yeah, here.
he's got to do
Come on,
things.
Cory.
We're gonna do
He's
the
gotta
thing
do things.
again. We gotta do the thing.
It's the ASMR.
You're gonna have a problem because it's not nearly as many hairs. It's less cloudy, less
Will you
floaty.
just wait? Don't tell me what I'm doing.
You do you.
All right. Maybe. Yeah, we're gonna say we see them in there. Look at all those hairs. Yeah. Yeah.
There's like
Looks
9.
So this is still white tea, right? The first white tea, the last white tea we had, Silver Needle, it's all buds.
Yeah.
Cream of the crop. This is the most expensive part of the harvest. And then you go down a grade and you get what's called Silver Needle, white hair Silver Needle, Baihao Yinzhen. Then you've got Baimudan, which is white peony. It's the name of a flower. It doesn't have the flower in it. It's just called that. It's a grade of white tea.
Okay.
The second grade of white tea from Fuding, Fujian, which is buds and leaves. And then this is the lowest grade, Shoumei. Mostly leaves, a few buds, but it's got that warmth and it's got that comforting, like motherly feel. It's got that honey, it's got the honey notes and the date notes and all this like dried fruit and these really just like sweet kind of maternal feeling taste. And white tea, if I'm serving a group of strangers and I don't know what people want to drink, and there's 20 of them and I don't have time to talk to them about it, I'll make white tea, aged white tea. The saying for white tea is 1 year tea, 3 years medicine, 7 years treasure. This is from 2021, so it's 3 years old.
Okay.
Medicine, what they would call medicine. And it's got this just warm, lovely, comforting taste.
I really enjoy it and I like it. And we were talking about the pairings and everything else before. This is not a contrasting pairing, but this is a complementary pairing.
Absolutely.
Where it works well together. They taste good together. Having both of these, they don't fight each other though.
No.
They don't necessarily elevate each other, but you could have something like this where if you had several people over, we were just hanging out, this would be very easy to make some appetizers and make some finger foods or something like that, but it would be really easy to do because these flavors complement each other so well.
They really
you could
do.
make a food that would work with both of these pretty easily.
Now pairing foods and pairing whiskeys and even painting, you've got compare and contrast and complement.
Yes.
So contrast is a stark opposite, and that's the other side of the color wheel. So you've got your golden blues, the ones that when you see them side by side, they almost shimmer, you know, with the patterns that are on it. It's almost psychedelic the way that it shimmers. Then your complements are, when you sit and you look at red, the shifting to the right is going to be more closer to purple, and you're shifting to the left is going to be closer to orange. Those are going to be complementary. They're going to have pieces or elements of those things. And so this is what we're trying to do when we're tasting as well, with the compare and the contrast and the complements.
And then you also have some maniacs that pair high-end whiskeys with, pickles.
And Dr.
Oh,
Pepper.
right, yeah, he's the pickle guy.
So
We talked about last time.
this is actually how we sat down and became whiskey friends.
Mr. Pickles.
Yeah, like Ryan, and he did it to me again today because he doesn't look like himself. We were sitting there and it's like, who's that guy in the parking lot? He's got a red beard. I don't.
6 months ago, I did not look like this.
And every time I have met Ryan, it's like, I know this guy. I've met him before. I don't know. I can't place him. What was his name? And that has always been, right up to today, my experience of Ryan, until one day Ryan brought in pickles that he brined, and he took out half of the water and he replaced it with different whiskeys. And he said this would probably make a really good episode for the Whiskey Tribe. And I called up Rex and I said, Rex, I've got this guy here and he's got these pickles, and he put Port Charlotte whiskey in some of these pickles. And I really think, he goes, no, it's the same as you. It's like, don't tell him to bring the pickles because I'm not going to eat the pickles. Rex did the same thing. It's like, no, that's stupid, blah, blah. But then everybody in the tasting room started tasting all of the different pickles.
I brought giant batches of them. They were all gone by the time I left. And everybody's like, oh my God, these are so weird. And they're so good. They're glorious.
And then the next thing you know, he came back and he did an episode, but he brought even more whiskeys to mix. The most popular whiskey that he paired with pickles of all of the whiskeys, Fireball whiskey. I'm not going to do that to you.
I have my traumatic thing. Like, you've got your trauma with rye. I've got my trauma with Fireball.
I'm not going to do that to you. I know you love your Islas. I know you love your Smoky Peat bombs. I'm probably going to upset Ryan, because Ryan, the reason he put that Port Charlotte into pickles is he was trying to find out something to do with his Port Charlotte whiskey.
Tell me about Port. I know nothing about Port Charlotte. What's that?
It's a super heavily peated whiskey that has a definite medicinal and metallic-y, cuprous kind of flavor to it. It is quintessential in the Isla whiskey kind of category with those flavors.
I do love that.
Now, the main reason I brought this was a bottle trade. So when you're in the whiskey community and you're working with your friends, and you know that somebody likes something that maybe you don't, or you see something that's hard to get. A year ago, 2 years ago, this was really hard to find.
Yeah, it was really hard to find. I was the only guy that could find it for him, because again, being in the military, our liquor sales, we always had 3 or 4 bottles of Log 16 on the shelf. So whenever they needed it, or Richard needed it, or they needed it for psalm classes and that kind of stuff, he would shoot me a text and like, hey, can you grab me a bottle of Log? And within 24 hours, I'd have it at the distillery.
Wait, I'm sorry. What does being in the military have to do with being able to get Lagavulin?
They have their own liquor store. It's
Sorry.
called PX.
And they get special stuff?
So, not exactly special stuff, but you don't have the proprietary issues where Total Wine only deals with this distributor and Specs only deals with this distributor, because everybody wants to support the military. We can have access to other things. Also, everything that's in the PX is sold at MSRP with no sales tax. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Bless you.
Now, there's been some price changes recently with the Lagavulin 16. This used to be in the $120 range.
Ooh, I can smell it from here.
There you go.
Dang.
It's walking up and talking to you.
Ooh, yeah. That's not a joke. That's for real.
This has actually seen around a $20 price decrease
Yeah, it's back about $100 a bottle.
Yeah, so there has been a change, but this has to do with availability and price and cost and all of these things. And it looks like Cory wants a little
The fourth
sippy
wall
sip.
wants some stuff.
This is like a firefighter's boot.
A firefighter's boot.
Yeah, it's like a firefighter's like leather boot. It's like one of the. It's like the firefighters from Gangs of New York, to bring it back. The last episode.
There you go.
It's like an old leather boot that's been smoked. It's been in the smoke.
Did you ever see the Time Bandits by? It's a sneezing time now.
See?
The Time Bandits by Terry Gilliam. At the very end, like they have been fighting evil with the seven, all of the different Time Bandits, and this young boy, he finally gets back to his home. And when he's back at home, there is a microwave, there's a fire, the whole house is in flames, and there's a microwave that they bring out. There's a black smoldering something inside of the microwave, and the little boy yells at his parents. He says, "Don't touch it, it's evil!" And they blow up in a puff of smoke. Sean Connery's the fireman. He comes out and he rescues the little boy, and the movie ends. That's this.
That's Lagavulin. Sean Connery rescuing a little boy
In the Time
from
Bandits.
evil in the Time Bandits. Terry Gilliam. What year is this movie? What are we talking about?
1984-ish?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm
We
old.
were,
Classic.
we were maybe
Classic.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were one, right?
Yeah.
Classic Terry Gilliam. Mm-hmm. Love Terry Gilliam though.
I do too.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I do love these smoky ass. This is what got me into whiskey, was smoky whiskey.
That's barbecue
That
smoke.
makes one of us.
Yeah. So what is it about the barbecue smoke that you love, but the Lagavulin or the Isla peated smokes that you do not love? Because you said there is something specific that is...
I will take a drink of this. I will try not to gag. Now, hold on. Like, whenever I tell you this, hopefully it doesn't ruin it for you.
I tried doing that with music with people, telling people that Bob Dylan wrote all of the all of the Pink Floyd lyrics was written by Bob Dylan.
What?
Yeah. So you think you can tell heaven from hell?
Whoa. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go Wikipedia that later.
There
but
you
let's,
go.
let's move on. Okay.
I just try to mess with
So this story is awful. I'm going to caveat all of that now. You can decide whether we cut this out or not. Just know, hold on. Just know that I don't like peated whiskeys. I will drink them. I appreciate what they are. I know it's in the bottle. Everything is good. It's not something I drink very often. Okay.
Personal opinions are like whiskey bungholes.
So
Every barrel has one.
this is purely, whenever you say close your eyes and having memories of what it invokes, this is what it is for me. So whenever you drink peaty scotches, do you ever get a metallic-y, penny kind of flavor in your mouth?
Oh, do you have
Let me
that with
see.
cilantro?
No.
You're not a cilantro
Nope.
person. Okay.
No, I love cilantro,
Okay.
but I don't have the flavor with cilantro. Do you have a cuprous kind of penny flavor, irony flavor in your mouth whenever you
No.
drink
I do for sure.
Not me.
Absolutely.
it? Okay, so I was a medic in the Army. I have been in rooms where there is so much blood on the floor that
Yeah.
you can taste the cuprous metallic flavor in the air. I can't drink it.
That makes sense. Also
Because it
the iodine.
The iodine, the everything else. There are so many flavors in that bring up so many memories for me that I just won't drink it. I respect what it is, Ardbeg, all the different things. Like, I get it. You can have all of it you want. And if someone gives me a taste, I'll never turn. I take it back. I turn down Octomore because I can't be in the same room if you open a bottle of that.
Yeah.
I have to
I like
leave.
that one.
I've had the same conversation with EMTs that
For
work
real?
in
Uh-huh.
downtowns.
Yep.
It's pizza and beer. They can't drink beer or eat pizza because they
We've had
have
it thrown up on us so many times.
Yeah, they've been thrown up
It's
on.
like, it's a
Yeah.
smell that you can't get rid of. I can only eat Neapolitan like sourdough style because like cheap Pizza Hut or Domino's Pizza, nope.
Because you got sick people throwing that up.
Yeah, I've had it
For
all
real?
over before.
Wow, that's brutal.
I have been in places where I worked at a surgical unit, or whenever I was going through Ramadi, I had so much of other people from my waist down that it was just black.
Yeah.
It had all dried. I'd been in the same uniform for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
And that smell was in everything I owned. Like I couldn't get away from it.
Yeah. And if you're working in butchering, that may also be the same thing.
Hunters understand it. Butchers
Yeah.
understand it. Nope.
So you're saying that it's like battlefield carnage.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like I can pick out all the other flavors in it. I can taste the bacon flavor. I can taste the wood flavors. I can taste all the other things. But it's the little subtle nuance. Like some people don't get it. He gets it bright and clear where it has like a penny taste.
Yeah.
Anything that I get like that penny flavor and it's only in peated scotches. And
The
there's
difference
some
is I like it.
right. And a lot of people who aren't hunters who haven't been in that kind of situation. Actually, it's just people that have been in the kind of situation that I've been in.
Yeah.
It's a note flavor. It's
Right.
a really note flavor.
It is why memory is tied to flavor and senses.
smell.
This is where we're going back and finding this memory, and I understand it. I get it. That is a trauma, and it's
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
no, it's awful.
yeah, it's
And
associated.
Rich and I have
with
had
that.
this conversation.
I can see it now that you're saying it. Now that you say it, I can smell it.
Yeah. So, like, think of if you ever brushed your teeth too hard and you have a little bit of that kind of coopersy flavor and things like that, like, or like whenever your kid has hurt themselves or stuff like that, like, you understand what the flavor is, and I don't want to ruin it for you, but I have been in rooms where like that is the smell and flavor
Right.
of the air in the room, and it's a hard nope.
Oh, I feel you. Yeah, no, I totally understand.
You can have the rest of that
I
one.
definitely
Now, the
not
reason-
any kind of association with something like that.
The reason I brought this out was this was a trade.
Yeah.
It was something that was a one for another, and then this was a conversation for me of people in a community who know that one person likes something, somebody else may not like it. I may have already opened this bottle, and I know that you like that, so let me gift you this bottle. And it's a way of having that relationship with other people in the community. And bottle sharing is something that happens quite often in the community. It's something I wanted to bring up. However, I did not want to traumatize Ryan.
No, it's fine. Like it's one of those things that I'm mature enough that like I understand it. I appreciate the flavors in it. I understand Log 16. Ironically enough, the Offerman edition, the 9-year that has the finish on it, I don't get the flavor that I don't like in it.
Okay, which finish is that? Because he's done a couple. He's done a stout finish. He's done.
It was what was the first one that came out?
Oh man.
Because I had it like 3 years ago at $7,000. 2 years ago at
Okay.
$7,000.
Okay.
I want to try like I will try all of the peated scotches except for Octomore because that's just too much. But it's just one of those like I want to try it so I can see what's good and what's bad, and I want to understand the flavors. Like, and I can pick all the other stuff out. It's just a bad memory flavor for me.
Yeah.
It's not going to cause me to have nightmares going home. It's not anything like that.
Yeah.
But in Lagavulin, Log 16 isn't as bad as some of them. Like some of the Ardbeg expressions, nope. The Port Charlotte heavily peated.
The pickle one. That's the one I used the pickle.
Yeah, that one, nope. I had to start the boil for the pickle brine and then go away, and somebody else had to finish it because I couldn't be around it.
Wow.
Because the flavor, like whenever it heats up and boils, lots more. But what's some other ones that I can't really be around? Ironically enough, the Teeling Black Pits, my brain is very confused about because I love half the smells of it and I want to puke because of the other half the smells.
Right.
How are you doing with some of our American single malts like the Del Box and the Andalusias and
So
the
those
Colpegans?
those are fine because the smoke and everything is off of that because it's not peat smoked. It's wood smoked and everything else. It's specifically peat smoked things because that's where the iodine-y, metallic-y flavor comes from. The Andalusia Strikers, the High West the High West Campfire.
Okay.
The Del Box, things like that. I'm fine with that. Camare, no, not a thing.
Connemara?
Yeah, Connemara. Sorry,
Connemara.
Connemara, no. The Isla Scotches, no.
Okay.
But it
Now
is.
Dunville does a peat cask as well, where the
I haven't
Irish.
had that one.
That one's a little lighter.
Okay.
But there are some that are finished in a previously peated whiskey cask.
And again, like I will try everything. I'm not. If somebody says, "Oh, this has a peat flavor to it," I'm not going to immediately say nope. I'm going to try it. I'm gonna have a no thank you drink. To talk about how I deal with my children. But if I don't like it, then I just don't like it.
Right.
And I tell people like, hey, this is me. This is why. And I don't mind having the conversation, but I preface it by saying like, hey, this is not a pleasant conversation, but I'm gonna tell you why I don't like it. Mm-hmm. Because I have met some people in the last episode you were talking about like gatekeeping with whiskeys and things like that. They say, oh, if you don't like peated scotches, then you don't appreciate whiskey. I'm like, no.
You don't know what people have done.
No,
you don't know what
like,
people have been through.
and I tell people like, this is why I don't like it, and they look at me and go, oh, like, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
It's not my thing.
Yeah, no, that's completely legit. And I just want to really hold space for that trauma. You know, that's not something anyone should ever experience. Honestly, it's not something anyone should ever go through. And it's you know, like we're the same age. You know,
It's business.
we were being kids at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and just like knowing that that's something that you had to be subjected to and exposed to. And I know you were doing your job and you were doing it for a good cause, but just the fact that you had to be exposed to something that traumatic to the point where you can't drink a whiskey like this without thinking about that's really something, you know. And I just want to show respect and hold space for that what you had to go through and appreciate that.
I appreciate it, and it was one of those things like most of the night we talked about our paths crossing and everything else. But what were you doing in 2005?
I wasn't in a battlefield.
Well, no, but like honestly, what? Because
what was I doing? I was in college, dude. You know, I was in Santa Cruz, California. I was drinking tea and studying about marine mammals. You know?
So with you, when so the tea we had in the previous episode, where you had your turning point.
I was about 2 years into my journey with tea. I was
Okay.
drinking tea, loving tea, sharing tea, serving tea out at to homeless people out at the church. I would go and teach this class at this church who let me do it for free. You know, they didn't care if I used their space out in front of their yard. Yeah, Calvary Episcopal Church in Santa Cruz. I'd go out there and I would have through the freeschool.org, I'd do a tea class just to share this thing that I love with people, just like you in whiskey, just like you in barbecue, you know. And most of the people that were coming were just, people experiencing homelessness out in Santa Cruz. There's plenty of those. And I had mad clout with the homeless community. I'd go downtown with all my student friends, and it's like students, then locals, then like the homeless community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I go out with my homeless friends and my student friends, and they're kind of like. But then these guys would come up and be like, "Hey, so hon," they like pass me a fucking blunt or something like that, because like I had clout with the homeless population because I was always serving them tea. But that's what I was doing. But I definitely wasn't getting traumatized by dead people.
But so for me, it was business, and it was something that I'm not going to say I enjoyed doing, but it's something that I felt like I needed to do. Just like you're
doing a good thing. You're helping people.
You were going out with the homeless community, and you were doing the same thing, and you developed a reputation, and you don't look back on that time as a bad point you don't want to remember, right?
Yeah, that's true.
There's a other side to military service that a lot of people don't recognize. And in the liquor store, people will come in and they will ask for a spirit or a liquor that it's like, how did you come across this as something that you're enjoying? It was like your conversation about Baiju, and it's interesting to find people, and not just tourist people, but people who have done service in military. And service in military, you need interpreters. You need people to help you navigate that space, and you're introduced to a new culture and a new land.
Yeah.
And as military members, you are actually representatives of the country that you come from. And there's a lot of peacekeeping that happens around the world where you go to these different countries and you learn their culture and you bring some of that back to the US and you start appreciating that as well. And most of the people coming into the liquor store, when I ask them, how did you find this particular spirit? Most of the time it was because they were in Bosnia-Herzegovina, they were in Iraq, they were in a number of different situations where they learned the local culture and they brought it back with them. So there are not always negative associations. There also can be some positive associations with this intermingling of culture.
No, for sure. Yeah,
That's how snow skiing got popular in the United States.
Because
Veterans
World War
coming.
II?
Yep, veterans coming back from overseas had learned how to do it whenever they were taking breaks, and they wanted to ski. So that's how they brought it back. Also, motorcycle riding.
Really? Where did that come from?
World War II.
World War
'Cause
II. Europe?
Yeah, Harley was sending a lot of motorcycles overseas. It wasn't a very accessible thing, and it's a lot of that. And
Willie's Jeep culture.
Willie's Jeep, definitely Willie's Jeep culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all, and it all ties back in. Like, and again, it's I don't regret my time. I don't regret anything like that. But it's being able to have a conversation about it and having, again, kudos to you. I normally don't like having that conversation, but I didn't mind having the conversation with you because we've shared a lot of experience and we've been on kind of this journey together. So I wanted you to know, like, this is why I don't really dig that at all, and this is why. But yeah, it's great and it's fine. It's just a thing. And
honestly, this is what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a safe space for people.
Yes,
we're trying to sit down and have some tea, bring people in who have multiple experiences, people that are friends of mine, people who are associates of mine, introducing them to Sohan at West China Tea, and then creating this safe space where we can have these conversations and we can relate with each other. So thank you, Ryan, very much. This has been amazing, fun, and entertaining, and we appreciate your service.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I appreciate the closing, but one thing that I really love about tea and whiskey culture and everything else, and I'll take a sip. A lot of times, and this isn't just with what I do for a living, but a lot of times people in general, they have identity either as what they do for a living, or they have identity as a parent, or they have those kind of things they're supposed to do. But they don't have, and I don't want to use the term hobby, but they don't have something that they grasp onto that is a piece of their personality that they got to choose. Some people end up at the job they did for whatever reason. Some people end up being parents for whatever reason. But what I really love about whiskey culture is you can have an identity. Like, before you got here, what I kept saying is like, oh, I'm doing whiskey things with my whiskey friends. Whiskey got me out of a really bad place because I got in whiskey and barbecue got me out of a really bad place because I got to make a new set of friends that weren't in that same bubble for me. I got to meet people, Richard, Brittany, Deb, Emma, Rex, Daniel, like all the people that I met at the distillery, Dan Garrison, Ty, Moose, like all the guys I met at all the distilleries. And it's been great because I got to make another set of friends, Josh and Gretchen. Like, just the list goes on and on and on of friends that I've made, and it's because of this. It's because you could sit down, not being pretentious, not saying, oh, well, I taste this was aged 6 months in whiskey or with cow intestines. Like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, it's good. Let's talk about why it's good, and it's enjoyable, and you get to have a single thing sitting on the table you have a commonality with, and you can just hang out and talk. Just like this is two things you can hang out and talk.
Absolutely.
And there are so many people that over the past few years that are looking to get past political conversations, looking for an outlet where they can have this camaraderie and a conversation without it turning into I'm against you, you're against me. How do we bring people together?
Right.
Anything other than peated whiskeys.
or rye. Well, and I also want
to drink rye. It's not awful, but it's just as long as it tastes like Christmas trees.
But I also want to share something that I do really appreciate about with both whiskey and tea culture is that the degree to which it invites vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know, and vulnerability is takes strength and courage, And there's no authenticity without vulnerability.
Right.
Because as long as you're not willing to be vulnerable, you're performing, you know? And so I think that that's something really special. With whiskey, it's that alcohol breaks down your inhibitions and allows you to be vulnerable. Tea, it's that warming, nurturing essence, and over time it allows you to settle into vulnerability. But that's really that without that vulnerability, there is no direct human connection. There is no authentic human connection. And I think that's what whiskey and tea and everything that people enjoy, barbecue, freaking hookah, whatever it is that people love, there's an aspect of what they love that is just their ability to connect, to cut through the bullshit and really connect to another human being. So thank you for being here for that tonight, Ryan. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for being a gracious host, and I
My
appreciate
pleasure,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Richard, it was great for you to be here too.
It's nice to see you too. So if you're looking for a third space, as they say, a place to hang out and have tea, West China Tea is the place to do it with
Highly
Sohan.
recommend.
Yeah, this has been a fun experience. We've been doing this. If you know anyone else that would like to come and have part of this adventure with us, we would love to have you. Just email whiskeyprovisioner@gmail.com or talk to Sohan at West China Tea.
Women, would love some women guests. I know we got one coming soon.
We
got
do.
one coming soon.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And then we're here. We're in Austin. Come hang out with us. Come drink tea with us, just like this, except without the whiskey. But the tea will be there. 4706 North I-35, right by the In-N-Out Burger.
Phenomenal tea. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Come enjoy it.
Thank you. And you come and hang out in like off time, when we're not doing a podcast. Come and just chill. You're always my welcome guest here. You guys know that, but I'm extending that invitation to you. You're always my
Appreciate it.
welcome guest here. You and your family as well. And check us out on westchinatea.com. That's our website. You can order this 2021 Chomay. You can get the Silverito that we drank, the chrysanthemum, the pu'er, everything.
The beautiful teapot.
Beautiful freaking guy ones. These aren't on the website yet. You got to come to the store for this one. But yeah, a lot of this stuff that we've got here. And then also check us out. Instagram, West China Tea, all one word. TikTok, West China Tea, all one word. YouTube, Tea House Ghost, filming season 3 now. And thank you so much, as always, Ryan, for being here. Richard, for making this happen. Cory, for making it happen behind the scenes. Gentleman and a scholar, thank you.
Hugs and kisses.
He's got a catchphrase now. Did you want an introduction to this?
No, absolutely not.
You good?
I don't think so. Do we need an introduction?
No, he just went straight into barbecue.
Yeah. Hey everybody, that's Ryan right over that's Ryan.
Ryan.
And then the guy in the middle is Sohan. And the guy over there on the right, that's Richard.
With the hat.
And with the hat, and then this is Cory. So enjoy the show that you're about to see, or that you just saw.
Hugs and kisses.
Hugs and kisses.
It's been a good night.
Been a good night.